Howdy, Jacob here. Today we're looking at Kellanova, and I hope everyone had a great holiday weekend. So, Kellanova, $18.2 billion market cap, $22.6 billion enterprise value, a little bit of net debt, 4.2% on the dividend yield. Let's look at that debt. So, 6.1 billion in 2012, down to 5.3 in 2022. That's good that it's down, but it looks like historically I'm assuming it's gone up with acquisitions. Let's see what we're looking at. So, when have they issued a lot of debt? Okay, yep. Looks like they fund a lot of their acquisitions with debt. We can see that, or roughly all of it. So, 617 million in acquisition. They issued 464 million in debt. 2017, 592 million for an acquisition. They issued 551 million in debt. But recently, since pre-COVID, they haven't really had too extensive of acquisitions. They've actually been focusing on paying down that debt, which is good to see for the amount that they have. Let's see again. So 5.3 billion right now, and 5-year average free cash flow. Let's see, 1.2, 1.1, 1.4, 600 million, 1 million. Let's say about a million there. So a million in free cash flow, and that's just over 5 times. I think if they really focus on bringing that down a little bit more, I'd be more comfortable with that. But it's not extremely alarming. It's not so much debt that I'm crying to my mama about it. But as for the dividend, they're paying out 80%, let's say, of their 5-year average, 811 million payout, and 5-year average, let's say, roughly a million. So 80% payout, that's fine. I guess if I were them, given that they have still over 5 times debt, I'd probably cut it a little bit. Let's cut it to 80% of what it is right now, and say a little maybe 650 mil payout, um, and then just use the rest to pay down that debt. And again, if shares get so cheap that it's stupid, then buy back some shares. But I think I'm comfortable with that. Maybe let's do 75. So then it's a 600 million payout. That's roughly 60%. I'm definitely good with that. Let's look at some of the other assumptions here. So 14.8 million in revenue in 2013, 15.3 in 2022. Little growth, very little growth. This might be one of those zero growth businesses in my perspective, but they do make acquisitions. So, um, maybe let's say for the next 7 years they grow 1%, but maybe at the end of 7 years, there's no growth for them, or there's even loss of growth with inflation. So I think I'm fine with that. As for margins go, it looks like earnings margins are higher than free cash flow margins. I don't necessarily like that, but let's do maybe what was that? Because I want to bump it down a little bit due to um, interest expense being a little greater. Because let's see, interest expense on 5 billion, 2% would be about 100 million. That's going to decrease free cash flow from a billion on average to, let's say, 900 million. So drop at 10%. I think I'm fine with those assumptions there. And then share change relatively flat, fine with that. Then yeah, it's looking pretty ugly right now. It's going to have to drop 64% to get us to a 15% return given these assumptions. I think right now I'm waiting. I think, the dividend is just over 4%. And like I said, I think they need to cut it by 25%, which will have it be roughly 3% of a yield, which is still a good yield. But for me, I don't think it's a nearly healthy enough price to get the returns that I'm looking for. So I'm just sitting back and waiting until it gets to something that looks a lot more attractive to me. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.